go get them again.
Welcome back to the Robezoid channel. I'm your host, Mark, and on the docket today we have a first impression unboxing video on the brand of Atelier Cologne. And Atelier Cologne, this one right here, just to introduce it, is Rose Anonyme. Now, it's not a first impression, actually. Kind of is. It's probably been at least 10 plus years since I've sampled this thing. Way back when I did a samples of the whole Atelier Cologne. I got the whole Atelier Cologne sample set, which was Atelier month. I remember it like it was yesterday, but it must have been at least 10 plus years ago. And this was in the sample set, obviously the whole line was. And I came out kind of lukewarm on this one. It wasn't one of the flops, but it wasn't one of the wow, it was great. And out of that whole Atelier Cologne sampling month, I never came out purchasing a bottle after that. Before that sampling, I had my very first bottle of Atelier Cologne was Orange Sanguine. Smells like orange juice. Very authentic, very thin, actually a really good citrus for the summer months. And then I went to their grapefruit one or their pomelo one, which is called Pomelo Paradis. Exact same thing. Very authentic, light, and great. And Atelier Cologne and their Perfume that they utilize for 95% of their fragrances, maybe 98%, is Jérôme Pinette. And what they do, and the motto of the line is that they're really are trying to go with uplifting scents. So their bread and butter is citruses, and they're great, but the back ends are lacking on these fragrances, so the dry downs aren't that great. So that is like the one thing that I would complain about with Atelier Colognes. Now, they used to be a Sephora brand. And I remember that fondly. You go to Sephora, you got the whole wall of designers, and then I remember Juliette had a gun, had their own little thing, and then Atelier, like it was almost like this is the higher end designers or like the almost niche kind of brands. They had their own little counters, at least at the Sephora's that I was going to. Anyway, that's lo and behold, Atelier Cologne has since then pulled out of North America. They decided to really focus on Europe. Well, at least on the other side of the pond. I think they were still in Asia and stuff like that because they sell well there. And they tried to like kind of rebrand and stuff. And now recently, now that we're in 2024, I see that they've rebranded again. And I hear that they're basically targeting a comeback to North America, which is nice. I think Atelier Cologne is a brand that is worthy of, you know, us sniffing it. So you might see them join the free bottle brigade someday. We'll see. But Atelier Cologne, Rose Anonyme, let's get into it. It is not a first impression, but really 10 plus years ago, I don't really recall what this smells like. Now, if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Subscribe, hit that bell, hit the like button. I really appreciate that. Now let's take a look at the note breakdown of Rose Anonyme. So I am assuming it is going to be a rose-based scent as per the name, but we are getting, of course, those fresh notes that they're known for, bergamot, ginger. So I'm expecting some sort of sparkling citrus up top, but we got some pretty interesting notes of incense, oud, patchouli, papyrus, benzoin in here. So you got some darker notes, but I know what to expect with the darker notes with Atelier Cologne. They are going to be much thinner. So the nose behind this, of course, Jérôme Pinette. Might as well call him the in-house perfumier for Atelier Cologne. This was released back in 2012, so it's an oldie. Now let's get into it. This is a 200 ml bottle. This is a mega big bottle. Look at this thing. It is massive. And if you do have an Atelier Cologne fragrance that you really like I think if I had a choice, I'd probably get Pomelo Paradis or Orange Sanguine in a 200 ml form, just because you kind of want to reapply those fragrances. And it's nice to do like little, you know, decants, especially if you're going to a tropical area. I think those kind of scents, you know, you do like a 30 ml decant and it wouldn't put much of a dent in your bottle. So those 200 mls do come in handy. This is obviously from the Fragflex return haul, which I see actually not a bad dent into her. This person really enjoyed their Rose Anonyme and then decided to return it back. So let's see. We got, of course, my strip here, and then we'll put it on that paper, and then we'll put it on skin and delve into Rose Anonyme. Atomizers like lasers, nothing wrong with that atomizer, nothing great, but not a bad one. We're going to keep it like this because I'm going to put it on skin after. Let's delve into it. Rose centric, 100% watery, green, uplifting. Yep. Ooh, a little bit of that, kind of like a fresh oud. Yeah. You got that oud kind of in the background, kind of just lurking in the shadows. I'm a very, how can I say this? Oud is like, it's a westernized oud, obviously, but she's thin. It's like the ghost of oud, if you had to say. Yeah. But the rose smells like kind of like rose water. It's very, everything's kind of thin on this one, which is what I would expect from an Atelier Cologne. So, hey, maybe early returns. I'm saying that this could be a good first dip into the rose oud combo. Maybe. I think that's probably the safest one in the game. Yeah, there's some. Yeah, the rose comes off green. And rose can do that, but there's also green notes in here, patchouli, papyrus. There's nothing, the patchouli not dank. It's a green aspect, but it's nothing too crazy here. Actually, talking about patchouli, the patchouli is kind of going a little chocolatey on me. So there is some backbone to it. Yeah, so the main thing is this is a rose-based fragrance, and the name is definitely correct. It's a rose-based scent. And incense, forget about that. I'm not getting anything incense-based in here. Oud, definitely, it's the ghost of oud. The rose is primary, but it's very watery. So it goes to show you if that's primary and it's watery and it's very thin, everything behind it is almost like there's not much bulk to this one. The patchouli does go a little chocolatey on my skin, which is nice. So it has some interesting facets behind it. Like a powdered chocolate kind of patchouli. That's where I'm going with this. It would be a rose oud that is wearable in the summer, 100%. Yeah. Don't expect fireworks from the darker notes in here. The benzoin, the papyrus, the patchouli, the oud, the incense. Don't expect anything big, three-dimensional. Nothing crazy out of those notes. The rose is bright, very bright, so there's no density to it. It's very restrained though. The oud, I would call it, yeah, I think a ghost of it is pretty straightforward, like a soft oud. No medicinal factors here. There's a bit of a benzoin note for sweetness, so there is some sweetness factors here. But the oud does kind of like this little dusty, woody thing well in the back end. It really is interesting. There's some greenness. There's obviously some sweetness. Light, transparent are good words for this type of fragrance. Probably, I would say, one of the safest. And I don't even want to categorize this as a rose oud because that's kind of really, it would be like the lightest, safest, not even classified as, because it's not even going on the Richter scale of any rose ouds out there. But it is, fairly light. And, oh, I'm getting a little bit of the ginger. So there's a little bit of those uplifting facets, but not much of that. It's getting a little more sweet. The benzoin is really coming up a little bit more. Yeah, very solid as a scent. Yeah, solid as a scent, and I think that's what I said in the sampling samples like eons ago. So young pup Mark was on cue. I think it's a well-built fragrance, and in the Atelier catalog, it's in the middle somewhere. Like, it's good, but if let's say you've never smelt this, your journey wouldn't be missing anything. It really is a really poor representation of a rose oud personally, and I can't even put it. That's how poor it is, but it has a place. It does have a place because I feel like it's well composed. Yeah. So at the end of the day, solid scent. Definitely one I would not purchase for the 200 mil. I wouldn't really be interested in that. This would be one of those that if Atelier, let's say, returned to North America, or discounters have these in North America once in a while. Some of them, you know, a lot in the American side of things carry a lot of these. I think this one's one of them anyway, that they have them regularly for cheap. But it would be one of those at Rose Anonyme. I wouldn't mind getting a 100 ml bottle. They have, I think, 30 ml bottles. I don't think I'd be interested in that, but 100 ml. And they can go around $100 or less. That would be one of those that, yeah, if I had it for a really good discount, I may pull the trigger because it's interesting enough. But there's nothing here that screams out top 5 Atelier Cologne. And I'm trying to go through the roster in my head here, top 10. It might not even peak top 10, honestly. That's where it is. But it's solid, so it's not, you know, the worst of the brand. There's most likely a lot worse than this. So yeah, an okay scent. Rose Anonyme from Atelier Cologne. Obviously got this at fragflex.com, decanting it right after this video. But you can find this one at Fragflex if you wish to do so. You can use my code TFG10. You get 10% off on the product, any product. It's site-wide. And they do obviously they carry Atelier Cologne. They do have testers. They have full bottles, and also they do have decants. So definitely check out fragflex.com. Now that you heard my take, I'd love to see yours in the comments below. What do you think of Rose Anonyme? I know this thing has been on the market for 12 years now. So, you know, you got your dozen years on the market. So I'm sure a lot of people have smelt this. But good, bad, ugly. I'd love to hear your take or see your take in the comments below. And as always, a great pour fragrance will make a lasting impression. Choose your rose-based fragrance wisely. Thanks for watching, YouTube. Have a good one.